Hello there! Today I'll be reacting to a video called Why You Will Hate Living in France by a French girl, Lucille. I don't know her. I'm gonna subscribe to her channel. I mean, you can check it out right here. So shout out to Lucille because I seen in the description she made other very interesting videos, especially the titles are very interesting. Why are French people so rude? Why is it so easy to be thin in France? Why Parisians are forced to live in a tiny apartment, I guess that is, why French food quality is good. So yeah, those are all videos that I want to check out, maybe on my own, or if you want me to check them out, just let me know and I can make a reaction video to it, because if you don't know, I'm learning French, so the more I'm exposed to the language, the better it is for my learning process. So yeah, let's learn why I would hate living in France. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be too different than Italy, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I live in Piedmont, in Italy, in the northwestern part, so bordering France. I think life is too different. Maybe, not too sure, but yeah.
For some people, moving to France seems like a dream, but
Okay, so this video is in English, okay. That's disappointing. That is disappointing. That is disappointing. Okay, I was hoping she would help me learn French. Okay, maybe there are some videos in oh, why am I clicking everywhere? Okay, let's continue.
a lot of people who actually do it end up regretting it sooner or later. I am French and I used to live in the US before I moved back.
Wait, oh my god, what have I seen her before? What have I seen her before? Wait.
End up regretting it sooner or later. I am French and
I've seen her before. I think she has a channel in French where she teach French. I mean, yeah, for sure, right? I'm not too sure. Okay. Let's just continue with the video.
I used to live in the US before I moved back to Paris. So
yes. I've reacted to her before. Because if you don't know, I also have a channel where I react to stuff from different countries, you know. I have different channels where I react to other countries, and I have a channel where I react to USA, and she was making videos in the US with her American boyfriend or husband, I'm not too sure. I remember they went to eat some food somewhere. Oh my god, I think it's been like 2 years. I'm so surprised of myself that I still remember. My memory is so strong.
I totally understand the appeal of moving to France. Like, the food is delicious, our cities are beautiful, there's culture everywhere, and we do have good public services and free healthcare. When people first arrive to France, everything is new and feels like an adventure. And I have to say that moving back to Paris, I also had a lot of fun trying all the delicious food, doing a lot of fun stuff around the city, and just rediscovering all the positive things. But you know, this honeymoon phase doesn't last. You actually get used to the good stuff. Like, after the 10th day eating a delicious croissant, you actually take it for granted. And that's when real life actually sets in and you start noticing all the annoying things. And that's when some people who move to France start to re-hate it. And I personally see two main reasons why this happens. The first one is that a lot of frustration with France and the city of Paris in particular can actually come from people having the wrong expectations. I talk a lot about it on this.
I mean, I would say that it's pretty much the same thing in most capitals. Like, I'm Italian, and personally, I mean, I live close to Milan, so whenever I want, I can travel to Milan. You know, can just take a train in less than 2 hours, I'm there. And I love it there, but I think I could never live there. I've been to Rome before, of course, being the capital of my country, but I could never live there. I don't know, I feel like life is so much easier in smaller towns. There's way less stress. You can enjoy life way more. Everything is a little bit cheaper. You have less pressure probably, for sure, you know. So I feel like it's a recurring theme for most big cities, no?
This channel, but France and Paris are not portrayed in a way that's realistic in the movies. Like, if you move to Paris, chances are that you're not—
Yeah, trust me, when they portray Italians in the movies or YouTube, is never realistic as well, so I can understand that part.
Not gonna live in a place that looks like this, but more realistically in a place that looks like this, which is just a normal suburb of Paris, or even like this, which is very common if you live in a car-dependent suburb that's a bit further away. And that's not bad, it's is just normal life. Not every single place is beautiful here in France. And I can tell you that if you move to France, obviously the common annoyances of living in a big city are gonna be there, plus some more that are actually specific to France, like strikes, bureaucracy, and many more that we will get into later. And that's actually when the real problem starts. When your idea of a place doesn't match the reality, it becomes so much harder to keep an open mind and just try to adapt to the culture. And I feel sometimes people have really strong feelings about it. Like the actual difference between what people were expecting and the reality of France and the French culture makes people so angry sometimes. And I have to tell you that I've had real life experiences of meeting random people, you know, maybe friends of friends. And when I tell them I'm French, they tell me just that they hate France and that basically every French person sucks. And you know,
it's a recurring theme in Europe, I would say.
Obviously, if you start your interactions with someone by insulting their culture, you're just not gonna be the best of friends with them. I'd say overall, it's not a good strategy. But, you know, I try to not stop to that and actually ask questions. And, you know, my issue with these people is that they've only visited Paris, so there's so much more to the French.
I mean, there is that stereotype about Paris. I've been to Paris 3 times. Yeah, I've been to Paris 3 times in the past 10 years. I didn't see that. I mean, everyone was really nice to me all the time, you know? I felt always welcome. I don't know, you know? I feel like maybe that happens more to Americans, I would say. Or maybe if you don't understand truly the culture, people might be rude to you. I don't know. It's always like about perspective. Like you could go to the country where the people is the nicest in the world and you could find rude people and they will ruin your stay. So it's all about the people you meet at the end of the day. Come on. I don't believe this kind of stuff. Like people are rude in this place. They're all so rude and all that. Come on. It's always one person and the other 10 are nice. So you just had bad luck. You will find a better person next time and you will enjoy your stay even more. I mean, that's just my thought. Anyway, you are free to not share it.
French culture, like we have an incredibly diverse culture that changes from region to region. And for them, you know, they visited Paris. They hated it. They just go back home with the idea that they dislike France and that's the end of the story. For us in this video is actually just the beginning because we are going to go deeper and we're going to try to understand why this culture shock happens. And for that, I need to tell you about this concept called the cultural iceberg. And this is such a cool concept to understand a culture a bit deeper because basically it's telling us that in every culture, there's a tiny visible part that, for example, in France, it's like the architecture, the food and wine, the fashion, the culture, you know, all of this stuff that's easy to love about France. But this is only around 10% of the culture, and the other 90%, so the non-visible part of the iceberg, is actually deeper stuff like communication styles, different approaches to relationships, different values, and a lot of fun hidden stuff that you start to understand once you spend a lot of time in a culture. And we will get into
Wait, I didn't see the last one.
Stuff that you start to understand once you spend.
French people don't love or love negative feedback. I never understood this approach to education.
A lot of time in a culture. And we will get into exactly what that is for France right after this. But one thing I do feel is the visible part of our culture is very publicized. People know about French food, French architecture, the fashion, and so on. But people
Why is it always with Emily in Paris? Oh my god.
tend to not know at all about the deeper parts of our culture. And that's what often tends.
Even in Lido now they were selling Emily in Paris stuff for the French week. I mean, what the hell? The highest representative of French culture is an American show.
To make people surprised when they discover that there's actually so much more to the French culture than what they see in media. All right, an easy example is in France, you are raised with the deep belief that you have to say hello at the beginning of every single interaction. Like when you're a little kid, that's one of the
In Italy too, and I feel that's very nice. That's a very nice thing.
first things you learn. It's a way of acknowledging the other person as another human being just like you. Well, when I moved to the US, I actually was a bit surprised that people didn't start their interactions with saying hello. And I was a bit sad at first until I understood that it's not as much of a thing there, and there's other fun, friendly cultural norms like small talk. So what I'm saying here is that if you want to move past the culture shock, you have to keep an open mind because things are gonna be different from your own culture. And most
I mean, it actually makes sense, you know, because if you now I'm starting to understand. Like I always see these negative comments about French people, but for sure, if you start the conversation, like I don't know, you just go and get a croissant or whatever, you don't even greet the person. You just say, "Yes, I need a croissant," without even say bonjour or hello if you don't speak any French. I mean, I could understand how the person, you know, giving you the croissant might not be the nicest towards you. Yeah, I feel like people, especially people when they're working in a very stressful environment, do need to feel like the reward of being greeted. You know, I'm calling it a reward, but it's not really a reward. But like, it's like just like a courtesy that they deserve to be extended to them, right? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I was working in a very stressful environment, because you definitely get so many customers and many of them will be rude to you, so they will fuck up your day. If people start an interaction without even say hello to you, I can understand how you will be a little bit rude to them. Like, I don't know. It makes sense what she's saying right now.
importantly, you have to move deeper and deeper down the iceberg because understanding this deeper culture is actually, in my opinion, so rewarding and so much more fun than only the visible surface level things. And by the way, you could spend a lifetime going down the iceberg. Like my boyfriend Bobby's from the US and I've been trying to do that for around the past 8 years and I feel I still have so much to discover. And before we move forward, I wanted to tell you about today's sponsor, Vivaya. Vivaya is a sustainable, stylish and comfy shoe brand. And for this video...
Okay, I'm gonna skip this part because look, I'm wearing a Dragon Ball shirt. What the fuck do I know about fashion? Let's just continue. But check out our channel. I mean, I will be leaving a link in the description for our channel. You can support her by checking out Vivaya if you're into fashion, definitely.
If you want to try them, you can check out the Vivaya. So the first... And you have to learn all this in the description below and use my code for a discount. So the first thing that comes to mind is that when you move to a new place, it's like you're a child again and you have to learn all the basic stuff of everyday life a second time. So for example, in this TikTok, this girl who's an exchange student says that she had to learn to live without a dryer because we don't have dryers in France. It's not a very common thing. And instead she's learning how to hang her clothes on a line. And obviously she did it wrong the first time. So people are commenting.
Wait. Yeah, actually, yes. Come on. I mean, how are they gonna dry if you put everything like randomly? I mean, there is everything on for a purpose, right? I usually like to put use 2 lines for each line of clothing. Seems to be faster to dry, but it must be just an impression. I'm just used to do that.
Hang her clothes on a line, and obviously she did it wrong the first time, so people are commenting with tips on how to do it right. And this might seem really small, but when you're moving to a different place, there's so many of those tiny things you can do wrong. I remember my first...
Yes, I remember when I traveled to Puerto Rico before. I don't know. I had to go and get something to eat for lunch. And I check on... No, there was not Google Maps at the time, or there was. I don't remember. Because it was like 2009 or whatever. But yeah, I asked for people for directions to go to the nearest place to get something to eat. And it was like 1.5 kilometers away. And there was no sidewalks, you know? So I was walking so close to the trees, you know, when I was walking. And there were so many cars stopping to me and said, "Wait, what's wrong with you? Did your car broke down? What is your car?" I said, "What do you mean? I'm just taking a walk." "What do you mean taking a walk?" People were so shocked. They kept on stopping for me thinking that I needed help. It was like, bro, what the hell? I'm just going to get a sandwich. Yeah, it was crazy. If you didn't have a car, Puerto Rico is a territory of the US, so I'm sure that in the US will be happening the same thing.
first night after moving to the US, so I arrived really late at night and I wanted to take a shower. The shower looked like this, you know, with a shower head that's mounted on the wall, and I just didn't understand how to use it. I didn't understand that you have to pull on the faucet to actually have water come out of the shower head. My boyfriend Bobby wasn't there with me, so I had to actually ask my roommate, who I had never met before, to help me and demo the shower for me. And like, this type of small stuff is really a learning curve. Like, there's so much small stuff you have to learn that might seem super normal for a local. And in France, I feel that we don't have a culture of convenience like in the US. So there's a lot of small stuff in everyday life that can be frustrating to someone coming from a different country. And the biggest one is the world famous French bureaucracy. Opening a bank account is so hard. You need a ton of paperwork. Bobby, for example, was never able to actually do it. He went to the bank several times with all his paperwork, like the girl we see in this TikTok. But he gave up in the end because it was just easier to keep his American bank account and just have an international option to avoid the fees. And this is not the only thing that's hard. Like, fees.
I would say yes, because back in the days, I used to travel a lot because I was playing poker online. You know, I was playing poker online, so I could basically do that whatever I wanted. And I really loved traveling to Spain, especially the Canary Islands. Oh my God, each time it was so hard to get internet. Oh my God, the SIM cards, you needed lots of documents. I don't know, even like to get Wi-Fi in your apartment. Oh my God, yeah, it was a nightmare. The part of the SIM cards is crazy.
Visas are super hard to understand, obviously everywhere. Renting an apartment is so hard in
France. Here in Italy.
You need
Imagine here in Italy, I still need to have my parents guarantee for me. I mean, that's crazy because, I mean, I'm not a professional poker player anymore. I still play poker sometimes to gain extra money as a side hustle. But like now I'm just doing YouTube, and even by doing YouTube, I pay taxes and all that. It's not recognized as a job. I mean, I pay taxes and everything, but it's not enough. You still need extra guarantees. It's really difficult to rent an apartment here in Italy. Yeah.
Bunch of paperwork, and it's so hard if you don't know a French person who can explain what the paperwork needed is. Also, it will be very hard if you're not a French taxpayer because they will ask for specific French tax documents that you don't need. But there's also random rules that are slightly inconvenient and that always surprise people who move to Paris. Like opening times, a lot of shops are closed on Sundays. My local post office closes at 12 on a Saturday. To be honest with you, this is not a time where I'm ready to go out of the house and go to the post office at all. I'm in bed by this time. For whatever reason, and a lot of people have picked up on it, deliveries are so weird in France. Like in the US, it's so simple. They just drop it at your door and that's all. But in France, they never seem to find you. Like they have to call you. If you're not here, they drop it somewhere else and you have to pick it up. And just learning.
Yeah, my God. And sometimes they don't even bring it to your door. Like for some reason, they won't even do that. They will just continue. So you know what I do? I just check out the Amazon lockers that there are in my city. When I buy something from Amazon, just drop it there. When I have time, I will just take a walk there and get my package. That's the best solution ever. So you don't need to stay home and wait because they never tell you even the time. So maybe you're doing something else and yeah, they come there, you cannot attend or you don't listen because you are wearing headphones. So whatever, just do that is the best thing.
I think the day-to-day stuff can be so hard, and I feel can be enough to break someone who's moving to Paris. But that's not the only thing that's hard in everyday life. If you are, for example, an American who moved to Paris, and you are hoping to have a similar salary than in the US, well, you're in for a bit of a shock, because salaries in France tend to be pretty low compared to the cost of living. Like France, for example, is right above the EU average in terms of annual earnings, but it's towards the top in terms of cost of living.
Bro, I don't know where they get this fact. What the fuck? In Italy, we earn 24,000. Yeah, right. In your dreams, the average. What the hell? I don't know anyone that earns this much in Italy. What the hell? I mean, I live in a small city, so I think the average would be about 20K probably per year. Maximum, not even that probably. Yeah.
Average in terms of annual earnings, but it's towards the top in terms of cost of living. So basically, if you were hoping to make a lot of money, you should have moved to Switzerland, where the salaries are higher. All right, so this is my personal experience as someone who used to work a corporate.
I mean, if I make lots of money on YouTube, probably I will be moving to Switzerland. I've learned that in Switzerland, actually, over the taxes you pay, half of it, the Swiss government is going to invest it in some funds. So it's not even that bad. While in Italy, you basically are not saving money for your pension. You're paying someone else's pension. I don't know how it works in France, but basically in Italy it's like that. And if there's not enough workers, people with a pension might lose their pensions. Pretty fucked up.
Job before. I used to work in investment banking and in tech. And in my personal opinion, I prefer the work culture in the US because you're given more responsibilities faster and you don't have to feel like you're waiting for your turn for a promotion. And the French work culture is something we could spend hours talking about because we do have a better work-life balance. Like there's not this always on culture that you have in the US where you have to be always available. Like people do take their vacations. You cannot get anything done in August. But on the other hand, you're expected to put a lot of your personal self into your work life. Like you're expected to socialize a lot with colleagues. And I'm not always a fan of that because it revolves a lot around drinking. It's a very hierarchical work culture and it takes a lot of time to move up. And obviously this is a very personal point of view because it depends so much on the type of work you do, on your location. But just know that the work culture in France can be pretty unique. Plus, if you don't speak French, it's gonna be super hard to advance your career or feel fully integrated. Like the language barrier is a real thing and learning French is really tough. So hard.
I mean, it depends. Like if you're a Chinese person learning French, yes, that can be tough. If you're Japanese, if you're Chinese, if you're Asian, it's totally different from your language. But if you speak English, you speak, I don't know, any other European language, most words come from French. I don't know, I feel like I've learned French pretty easy. I mean, on my side, I have that in school, in middle school, we had to learn French for 3 years. But of course, in school, you never learn a language. So when I started about 5 years ago learning French, I mean, I'm still learning French on and off, so that's why I'm not fluent. But yeah, I mean, I still remember lots of stuff. I wouldn't say it's difficult. Yeah, especially if you live in the country. It's not that hard. I don't know. I mean, learning languages is not easy. You need to have the right motivations for sure. But to learn it at a conversational level, I think in a year or so living in the country, you can do it with no problems for sure. When people is not learning the language, they're complaining that it's too hard. Is because they're not even trying enough. They're relying too much on their native language, and that's why they're not. But of course, come on, you cannot judge people because they're not learning a different language. But if you are living in the country, you should little by little melt into the new culture. That's what I want to say. Otherwise, what's the point? Just go back to your country if you don't want the new culture, no?
Hard language to learn, but it's the key to fitting in here because you'll get to know people so much deeper if you actually speak their language. And if you're just starting out, my best advice is just to go out and try speaking as much as you can. Don't stress if it's not perfect, and also sometimes people will switch to English just to be nice. I personally do that all the time, but just stay strong, keep speaking French, and just tell people you're trying to practice. People will reappreciate it, and also it will help you connect way more with the culture on a deeper level. And part of adapting to a new culture is knowing that you will never 100% belong and that it is okay. Like on my side, my English level is pretty good, but I know I'll always be an outsider when I'm in the US, even though I spend so much time trying to learn the culture. And I feel once you feel comfortable about that, that's when things get easier. And a big thing that will make you feel integrated, and something I see quite a lot of people struggle with when they move to France, is actually making friends and social relationships overall. Like a lot of people feel that French people can be a bit distant and cold and that it is so hard to make friends. And if you want to know why, I've actually made a full video breakdown about this. And I think you should watch it next. I'll see you there.
So cool. Yeah, maybe we will check this one or maybe not. I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, I'll probably check it out on my own. I'm kind of disappointed because I was hoping that her videos would be in French, so it would be good to improve it, to improve my own French. But yeah, that was a cool video. I apologize for speaking way too much. I'm really I get too much into the topic and I share too many anecdotes. But yeah, sure. I hope you enjoyed this reaction video. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to support the growth of the channel. And if you have any more recommendations for videos, also let me know down below. See you soon.